Greetings, Storm Phoenix. Hello, New Money, Old Magic. How you folks doing? Just gonna wait a little while for people to filter in before we start doing any work. Probably a good game, Ballard. Ballard. I thought it was. I saw GG Ballard and my brain went JG Ballard, who I know that's not what you're referencing. Hello. Hello, Jazz hands. Good afternoon. Hello. Hi. Greetings. Yo. Oi. Hello. Hey. Hi. Hello. Hello, boss. Hello. Oh, hello, Norway. It's crazy that people in Norway watch. That folks in Norway watch. Matt, I missed you! Well, yeah, but your aim is getting better. Always gotta check Last Exit to Nowhere to see if they have any new dope shirts. I get a lot of my shirts from Last Exit to Nowhere, and I discovered them because one of my favorite film reviewers was wearing a Knox Oil and Gas shirt, and I was like, oh, where did he get that shirt? But they don't know. Oh, look, hey, they made a new Dune shirt. Holy, I guess I gotta buy some new shirts. I didn't know you guys made that dope-ass shirt. Got to get a new Dune shirt. Will this stream contain spoilers? Yes. No, this is not a match. Are you kidding? If this were a map patch, I retire. Thanks for the sub, Paul. 8 months. Thank you, sir. Do you watch... It better contain spoilers. Bye. Bye, Lars. I miss you already, Lars. Is Vince hiding in the timer? I know Vince is at home fighting off the fungus that's trying to eat him. Where is the shirt that I want to link? Oh, here we go. It's right here. Anyway, correct. Well, because we're gonna talk about my voice. My voice seems low. Well, all right. Bring the mic closer. I'm in the D&D category because we're talking about D&D. Wow, a bunch of people subscribing. Grim. What's wrong with my monitor? Why doesn't my monitor mont? Come on, monitor, mont. There we go. Better. What did I miss? Strong staff. Thank you for the sub. Testing. I can't turn it up in OBS, but of course, literally nothing's changed since the last time we've streamed. Therefore, we have to redo everything from scratch. Testing. Hello, hi. That's louder. I have increased the mic gain by about 1/100,000th, which of course means it's now going to be blasting at max volume. Because this, as I've complained about before, this you can't see it. My Shure XLR to USB digital converter, it disna like being monkeyed with. So we are going to. Sout Monkey 77 Petty Punk, thank you for the subs. I did the new Teddy, and in fact, Anna posted it in our secret chain only Discord. So I don't know who Chris Duckman is. No, it was Mark Kermode. Is it any fun to play D&D with just a DM and one player? Yeah, in fact, I would say that the most rewarding session, as far as my players go, it's not much fun for me. It's not any more fun for me. In fact, it's probably less fun for me, actually. But my players who have played just one-on-one for me, in every instance that's happened, they have reported back and saying it was one of the coolest, most... Because there's no one to share the... Anyway. Well, your fiance has good taste. So, what are we talking about today? we are here hanging out because we're going to design the villains that the players are going to meet. If you have been watching the Chain of Acheron, you know that we the last session ended with the enemy team teleporting into Ringwell, and the enemy how do I send you fan? Oh, just post it on Twitter, tag Lars. Lars is the and then somebody called them the chaint because they ain't the chain, the chaint. You seemed quite upset. Was I don't remember being upset. So yeah, I want to, so we ended with the villains, the villain team, and these are human beings with yeah, there's humans with class levels, except I'm not super interested in designing 6 9th level NPCs using the actual rules for creating PCs, because that would take forever, and I think the quality of the design would be very poor, because managing 6 characters and remembering all their actions and bonus actions and special abilities is ridiculous. And, you know, designing 6 evil characters like they were PCs means spending all this time figuring out, oh, what skills do they have trained? Who cares? Who cares? They're yeah, correct. So what I'd like to do instead is sort of find a way to make it fun and easy to design and run a batch of nasty villains. What's the expected lifespan of these evil guys? That's a good question, Harlequin Red Sky, because there's no point in giving your villains more options than there are things to do, really, I don't think. You know, what you want is, it's this villain's turn, tell me what they should do. And if it's fine to give them multiple options, as long as those options are I would actually prefer that it not be, so this is maybe useful, we'll find out. It's not unusual for me to spend some time working on the design for something and then get to the end of it and be like, I'm not going to use this. So we'll see. I have no promises. But what I'd rather do is, instead of saying, okay, here's the rogue, and here are the 3 or 4 different things the rogue can do, depending on the situation, I'd rather just say, here's 6 characters, and they can each do different things depending on the situation. So if I need to solve this problem, I have the priest go. If I need to solve this problem, I have the rogue go. And that way, when it's the rogue's turn, the rogue does the thing the rogue does, and I don't have to sit there looking and going, okay, well, he's got 7 different spells. Let me go read those spells and figure out which one. That's ridiculous. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, much more like 4th edition, correct. So I've already spent a little bit of time working on this, and I was, it was, what's what I'm looking for? It was fertile endeavor. So inbred cheese meat. Cheese is a kind of meat. Sorry. So let's take a look. We're going to translate ourselves into a form that will be easier for you folks to follow along. Hello, hi. Here we are. So I can't really boost this any. I'm a little bit. There we go. I'm just trying to be well composed, centered in the frame. So you can sort of see what's going on here, right? We've got. I was originally doing these in rows. But, yeah, I've looked at yeah, I'm aware that this is yeah. I'm aware that 5th edition has NPC stat blocks. So, hello, Ash. So I've done this in columns instead of rows, just because I want you folks, this is not the Time Rider, this is State Azure. It's kind of the unofficial background of our streams now. Although most of the stuff State Azure does is, what's what I'm looking for? Modular. So they're going to fight a monk, a priest, a ranger, a battlemaster, a rogue, an eldritch knight. It's not, don't think of these characters as this is the anti-boots. These bad guys don't know who Boots is, and they didn't pick this team to individually thwart the heroes. Maybe a future team would be assembled specifically to negate what the heroes do, although that would be, you know, the heroes don't really have that ability, right? They can't decide to, but it would still be pretty dramatic. So you can see what I want to know is, what's this character's armor class, how many hit points they have. I want to basically, when we're done, I want to be able to print this out and use it, and this is what I run, right? So they're going to get, this is kind of like the retainer system, which I'm quite happy with, and people are using. And in fact, we're using them in the Chain of Acheron. Butts is casting Acid Splash and doing her thing. Their action is, this is the thing this monk is going to do every round, right? And then each character is going to get an action, and they're going to get a bonus action. Because the Chain of Acheron, one of the reasons they have such crazy damage output and such high utility is they all have bonus actions that allow them to do crazy stuff in combat. Now, whether I like that design or not, regardless of what I think about bonus actions, they are a huge way to, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a huge way to buff the utility value of a character on a round-by-round basis, and it's part of the action economy. So each of these guys is going to have their own bonus action that they're going to do. So they're going to do a thing and then some other dope thing. And there's probably going to be some logic to what is a bonus action. Like, bonus actions are probably going to be things that either debuff the PCs or that enhance these characters' movement, right? So that's going to be the idea here, is that I do my thing and then I get into position, or I do my thing and then I do something that makes your life difficult. And here's where things are going to start to get interesting. They have reactions, right? Which is a big part, I think, of making bad guys challenging, is that they can do things on the enemy's turn. But they also have villain actions, and villain actions are basically legendary actions. But what I want to do with these is I want to key them each to a given round of combat, right? So, like for instance, I might even put here round, right? Round 1, round 2, excuse me, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, if they get to round 6. And let's, it's funny because I'm looking at OBS. Nerd. Let's center these. Formatting, proper formatting is a very good, and in fact, let's center these too, because it just makes it easier for us to read. And the idea is that on each round, this is not a concept that 5th edition has, but on each round, a different villain is going to do some dope thing that they do on that round, right? I don't know if it's intentional, but there's a big black bar at the top of the screen. We could spend some time making that bar go away if that's what it takes. I could just do this. Here. Let's stop the stream and fix the black bar. Let's take this and put this up here. All right, now there's no black bar. And now let's go here and add some rows, or we'll take this row and just do like that. And now that's back in position. There we go. There we go. So that's taken care of. So yeah, these are just some notes, and then their villain action. So on round 1, the monk has already acted. The monk is their, not the leader, but he's their kind of combat leader. And that's why it was the monk. I think probably their leader is this guy, Priest of Ajax. But the monk is their lieutenant, effectively, their combat leader. In the Chain of Acheron, as I've explained to Lars many times, the commander is the person who decides what jobs are we going to take. But it's the lieutenant who then runs the show after that decision has been made. So that's why it's Boots that's facing off as far as, like, who's their battlefield commander. Really, it should probably be Slim, right? Slim is probably the battlefield commander. But as far as I know, Boots is the lieutenant, and so there you go. Wisdom is misspelled. I can already tell this isn't going to work. I can already tell this isn't going to work. Here, let's fix that by making sure many other things are misspelled. Here, this is going to be a component now instead of a component. And we'll switch the A and the I here. I and the A. There we go. Now there are many more things misspelled. So you folks have more stuff to talk about. In fact, let's put the iron bar back because it was annoying somebody. And that's how I know this stream is being productive. There we go. So, so yeah, let's find out. So that's the basic premise of this, is that the villain, this may not work. You know, what are the odds that the battle is going to go 6 rounds? Pretty small. So I may end up, obviously I would reserve the right to, you know, grab the, if this Eldritch Knight's ability would be really cool to use right now, this is probably what's going to happen, right? Is that I'll end up using the Eldritch Knight's round 6 ability on, wow, thank you for your gifted subs, Morova. 10 gifted subs, thank you very much. I apologize if people are gifting subs and chatting and talking, but I'm not here to answer questions, although I'm interested in knowing what people think about this stuff. I'm primarily interested in figuring out what the design of this thing is. So let's just start with AC. Now, the nice thing about organizing stuff this way, and I'm not advocating for using a spreadsheet program, I'm just letting you know that's the way I do it. I'm sure there are other ways to achieve the same effect, is I can very easily just sit here and look and see who gets a good AC and who gets a bad AC, who's hard to hit and who's easy to hit. Now, let me tell you, like, regardless of what this is how I think. This is not unique to this design. I don't know what armor these folks are wearing and don't really care. Don't actually care what 5th edition rules we're using to achieve, you know, probably this Battle Master's gonna have a 20 armor class. I have no idea how he got to 20 armor. He's heavily armored. He's wearing plate or whatever. Maybe it's magic. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Oops, excuse me. There we go. Right? But I know there is a way to get a Battle Master to a 20 AC. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. I know there is a way to get to that number, so why bother worrying about that right now? Maybe later when they're dead, you know, I'll have to make sure these guys have some magic armor and stuff like that, so that, which the players don't really have. It's going to be another part of this, which I don't know if we're going to get to today, but figuring out what magic items these folks have. Because I could very easily go through this. I could very easily go through this process and just with their action, their bonus action, their reaction, their villain action, create a challenging party, and they don't have any magic. How does this monk have Voice Stealer? Because he has access to stuff the heroes don't have. Right? This is a cool ability, by the way, so who knows? But I am aware that this is around about as nasty as armor class should get. Right? Maybe there are spells or potions or lotions that you could drink. Chat is a little bit easier to read. Right, so what's the monk's AC? I think the minimum AC we should be talking about, maybe this is like the ranger and the rogue. Maybe the rangers and the rogue have 16. Because regardless of what their class abilities are, if their armor class is any less than this, they're going to be too easy to hit. The heroes are really easy to hit. Do you worry about power creep via magic items? Well, if you watch this process, you'll see that like watch here, like let's imagine that one of the players had plus 12 to hit, right? That would seem like a lot. Well, I can just go, here we go. This guy's action is he's plus, or let's imagine, what's the highest armor class in the party? Let's imagine it's 20. And then I award that player plus 4 armor. Oh my God, that person has a 24 armor class. How could I possibly balance that? Well, this guy's plus 16 to hit. There, I just did it. Look. Now this guy can hit anybody he needs to hit. Done. So no, I don't really worry about it, except insofar as that I have to remember, like, if I don't know that the players have these abilities, or if I don't know the players have this many hit points and basically this armor class and basically this bonus to hit, these are the 3 numbers I really need, then I don't really know how to challenge them. But that's essentially all I do need to know how to challenge them is what's their armor class, what's their bonus to hit. Because this number doesn't mean anything except insofar as it is compared to their attack result. So it needs to be whatever number is necessary in order to produce a likelihood of hitting that is reasonable to me. So, So the priest is going to be wearing heavy armor. He could very easily get an 18 AC. Monks, this guy I think of as being a very kind of, it's not necessarily reasonable that the monk would have a higher AC than the priest. But I do feel like this guy's probably more survivable than anybody else in the party. And the Eldritch Knight is probably also going to have a really high AC. So these guys have we have two folks here who are relatively easy to hit, but these folks are probably going to be the highly mobile characters, so it's going to be hard to get to them. And at this point now, somebody like, you know, what's the highest bonus to hit in the party? I don't know. It's probably close to like plus 11, right? Which means plus 11, even with AC 18, they're only going to need, you know, a 7 to hit or something. And that means they're going to hit most of the time. But that being said, needing a 7 to hit means you're still missing 30% of the time, right? In fact, let's name these guys. So just to make it a little bit easier for folks that just got here to figure out what is we talking about. Where's that font that I liked? I really need a font manager, because about 80 to 90% of these fonts are crap, and I have no idea what software I installed. Back when I was a Mac user a million years ago, I had a really well curated collection of fonts, but now it is mostly crap. Where are you, my really cool font that I used? No, that's not you. That I used for something. It was an M font. Why am I spending all this time on this? Who cares? This is going to have to do. You're going to have to do whatever font that is. There we go. It's a terrible font. Anyway. So we have a vague idea what these guys' armor class is. I didn't turn on the air conditioning and now I'm roasting in here. Hit points. These guys are going to need a lot of hit points. I don't really have an idea of, like, they're all going to need a ton of hit points to survive, right? So we're talking like, I could sit here and figure out what level they're. They're probably like 9th level, which means they've got like 9 hit dice, and they probably have good stats. So they're all going to be at, you know, +2, +3, +4 con. But realistically, if they have anything less than 70 hit points, they're going to get smoked, right? So like who has the most hit points here? Probably the Battle Master. I think Slim has the most hit points. Slim has 70 some odd hit points. So let's give this guy 127 hit points. Okay. Who's the easiest to kill? Probably the Rogue and the Ranger are the easiest to kill, but they still have to be survivable. So this guy gets 76 hit points. This guy gets 78 hit points. Why did I do that? Because now that I've figured out who has the most and I figured out who has the least, I've got a range. I've got a range, and now I just have to figure out what are the guys in the middle, right? So the Eldritch Knight is going to have probably about as many as Battle Master. Let's give him 116. So he's got, like, you know, he's got some stat 1 lower than this guy or whatever. The Priest is going to have a lot, but I would say probably like 90, 96. The Monk has higher armor class than the Priest somehow. I don't know how. The Priest could easily get higher armor class than this. Don't get me wrong. This is not meant to be an upper bound. I'm not sitting here thinking what's the highest armor. That's not how my mind works. I'm thinking purely in terms of encounter design. So this guy, he's a little bit harder to hit, so he can have 87 hit points. This is the simplest possible design balance you can imagine. He's a little bit harder to hit, therefore he's a little bit easier to kill. Right? How do they get to these numbers? I have no idea. I don't care. And here's another thing about not caring. This is tricky, right? Because the players are going to find out what these characters' armor class is. And a smart player, and this is a completely reasonable thing for a player to do, it could just sit there in the back of their mind and be like, the only way this character gets this armor class is if they have magic shit. I've been a player like that. And I would like to then make sure, and in fact, in that moment, I might go, ooh, make a note, this guy needs magic armor, so the players get some magic armor when they defeat this guy. This, however, the players have really no idea how many hit points these folks have, and they can heal each other, so it's even if they tried to keep track, it would be impossible for them to know, right? So that's the way my thinking works. So movement, the heavily armored guys, you know, like these guys are probably all going to have 30. These guys are going to have 30 movement, right? 20 AC is 20 AC for BM Battlemaster is plate plus shield half plate plus shield. If they're that strong, +1 should put them in 22. I literally have no idea what we're talking about, Ragemore. Sorry. I'm sure that was all very well figured, but this is are they all human? Yeah, the Black Iron Pact are all explicitly human because Ajax is a speciesist. Ajax is about promoting human beings. So I think there aren't a whole hell of a lot of things that give you bonus movement. There are some. Hey, Ragemore the Pope just reposted the thing I already read that I was like, I don't know. Yeah, great. Oh, maybe this is different. Yeah, don't know. Not really paying attention to. Not really paying attention to the math here, which I hope is obvious. So I think, you know, the base, nobody should be slower than 30 feet. If there was a dwarf or something, I'd be like, yeah, they could be slower than 30 feet. I don't know, is heavy armor slow? I don't think heavy armor slows. But I do think the rogue, the ranger, and the monk should have bonus movement. How they get it, I don't know. I don't know, because they need to be able to move around. But that being said, their bonus movement is probably going to come from their abilities. But the monk, I'm just going to give the monk straight up 40 feet of movement. So these guys all have 30 feet of movement. In my mind, I was thinking, shouldn't the rogue and ranger be more nimble, more dexterous, more mobile, because they're my mobile guys? That being said, their mobility is going to come from their reactions, I think, and their actions. So now we're going to get into the... So look, I've already done a lot of design. I don't know how good it is. And of course, I reserve the right to change hit points on the fly to make the encounter nastier. But now we're going to talk about what is this character's action, right? It's the monk's turn. What does the monk do? Well, the monk is going to beat the shit out of the person in front of them. And the monk is going to get a lot of attacks, right? So and they need a lot of attacks. And I think the monk, all these guys are going to dish out crazy fucking damage. So I think this guy is going to get 5 attacks. I think each strike is going to be +9 to hit, because they need to be likely to hit. The clerics have pretty good armor class. +9 to hit. I'm not going to write like range or anything like that. And each strike is doing 2d8 +4. Okay? So if this guy hits you every time, he's going to do 10d8 +20. That's a lot, right? He's going to beat the fuck out of you, right? Whack, 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 whack. Okay? And then you're going to have to make a whiz save. No, actually, you're going to have to make a con save. Or something's going to happen to you. I don't know what. Something cool. Something that makes this character unique. Something kind of non-standard. And I like, you know, Korsoth Vastican in Strongholds and Followers. If he hits you with 3 out of his 4 arrows, something bad happens to you. But, and I like that. I like that notion of if a certain number of attacks hit, then, and that allows us, by the way, if every attack that he hit you with had some effect attached to it, then that effect would have to be really minor, because any of these 5 attacks could trigger it. But if I say something like, he gets 5 attacks, and if 3 or 4 of them hit, then I can make that ability crazy, right? Korsoth Vastican, if he hits you with 3 of his 4 arrows, you have to roll on the reincarnation table. That sounds cool. Go buy Strongholds and Followers. You have to roll on the reincarnation table. Well, that's crazy. Well, is it, though? It's not that crazy. Like, you know, if you went from being an elf to a dragonborn, that wouldn't necessarily change your character, the mechanics of your character that much. But it's fucking cool, right? So this can be the same thing. If 4 attacks hit, something crazy happens to you. I don't know what, though. I don't know what. It should be really cool. I really miss, like, Quivering Palm. I don't know. He wouldn't have something that powerful. But I gotta think. I gotta not pay attention to chat because it's gonna be, stunned is it's not very flavorful. What's wrong with stunned? One, it's incredibly powerful. Not being able to do anything on your entire turn is the worst thing that can happen in 5th edition D&D, basically. But it's also not very flavorful. It's not very flavorful. Somebody just said something really cool. Somebody says something that, like, that's terrible. I can't do that. Hang on a second. Let me make sure that these things are formatted correctly. I really wish it was a wrap text. There might be, actually. In fact, I'm almost certain that it's right there. I'm so old school. So it would be neat. I think I'm probably going to edit this. It would be neat to be like, you're still conscious. You're still fine. But if you go unconscious, you're lying there and you already have one death save accumulated. So let me think. The stuff like you're blind, that makes sense. There was something I was thinking about. I thought I wrote this down somewhere. Yeah, I think this is going to do it. So, yeah, if he hits the same target with 3 attacks, oh, I put this in the notes to last week's session, which are on Patreon. If he hits the same target with 3 attacks, they lose their proficiency modifier. I think I created a new condition, and the condition was like disoriented, and you lose your proficiency modifier, and you can't maintain concentration spells. Let's not combine those for the. So you can't, if a spell requires concentration, you would cast it, but then it would just be done at the end of your turn. There's no save, Ace the Striker. Do you know why there's no save? What's the logic here? This is regular everyday design. This isn't Matt being weird when he says this. Why is there no save on this? Because he has to hit 3 times. The save is have a high armor class. If this were something that every attack could do, then yeah, we would probably need a saving throw. And this is also something where I haven't really done. I may, if depending on how much work we get done today. Oh, I would say probably for a round or something like that. That's a good question. How long does it last? Until the end of the next turn. Until the end of the next turn means they have to deal with it for 1 round, right? So, yeah, if it were every attack did this, then you'd probably want a saving throw. But it's already going to be pretty hard to do this. That being said, plus 9 to hit and 5 attacks might mean that this ability is going to proc, as they say, all the time. In which case, I'm going to tune it down live while we're playing. I'll tune it down. I'll be like, this shouldn't be happening this often, but maybe I'm rolling really well, or maybe plus 9 to hit turns out to be just a colossal amount. Okay, but there we've got some. This is really fucking cool, right? He's going to go, right, and then if he hits you 3 times, you're kind of like, oh shit, I don't remember how to use my sword. Okay, so, I like that. If he hits 3 times, your old teacher from high school shows up, reminds you of homework still due, and you're not wearing any pants. So, a 44 plus 4 would be a much cooler number. That's true, although it would kind of force a regression to the mean, right? It'd be much less likely you'd get 16, and it'd be much more likely that you would get 8. Knight 7 says, why not just impose disadvantage on attacks for 1 round? Go ahead. You mean why don't why not just impose disadvantage? How do I put this? Like, yeah, I mean, it's lame. It's one of the problems I have with the monsters in 5th edition is that they are all just buckets of hit points, and some of them impose disadvantage. And then there are some of them that have really cool, neat abilities, and you're like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, why does Korsoth Vastican, if he hits you 3 times out of his 4 attacks, you have to roll in the reincarnation table? Why not just say it imposes disadvantage? There are lots of things. It's like, you know, why do we roll dice instead of just taking the average number? Because people like rolling dice. So now he's going to get a bonus action, right? He's going to get some dope-ass thing he can do. We're almost done with this character, by the way. But we're not done talking about this character because I want to explain why some of his stuff works the way it does. So he's got a bonus action. So he can do his thing, whap, 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 whap. And then he's going to do something crazy. And it's either going to I don't think it's going to debuff the heroes because that's right there. It's either going to buff his allies or it's going to position himself really easy. He's the lieutenant of this team. He's a kind of combat commander. So he's probably perfectly able to command. He's the master of jackals. He's a pack leader. Right? So as a bonus action, yeah, so his bonus action is going to be all allies get 5 feet of movement. Yeah. I think that's so every round on every time this guy goes, all his buddies can go and they can do a little bit of a right, and it doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity, so it's like I get to. That's not going to be what that's going to do. Is it's just going to allow his buddies to get advantage more often. That's it. And I have no idea what this is. Is that a good thing for him to do? I don't know. We might have to come back to this and see what all the other ones are. So, but it's thematically appropriate, and I can imagine it being situationally useful. And at that point, if it's not cool enough or not good enough, it's going to have to do for now, right? Because it's already done a couple of things. We have Voice Stealer, which is neat. It's a reaction of somebody. I'm not 100%. I reworded this. I'm not interested in the language that 5th edition uses to describe its stuff. I'm interested in utility value to me as a dungeon master. So it's way more important to me that I be able to read this and get it than it is that it obeys the rules of 5th edition grammar. And I probably have to rewrite this because it doesn't actually. I want the first thing, which if I obeyed 5th edition rules, it probably would, which is the first stab I took at this did. This phrase, like, yeah. I need to know, just by looking at this, that it's if somebody casts a spell. And right now that phrase is kind of buried in the first sentence, which makes it non-obvious. When do I get to use my reaction? But Voice Stealer, target an enemy within 30 feet who casts a spell with a verbal component and spend a key. How much key does he have? I don't know. I don't care. Enough. He's got enough. The target must make a wisdom save, which is, I believe, collectively the best, rather the worst stat. The target must do a wisdom save. I don't know what the DC is. It's going to be like, you know, less than 20 and more than 10. Less than 18 and more than 12. Right? Maybe I'll write it down between now and then. It's probably going to be like 15 or something, right? The target must make a wisdom save. Failure means the target cannot use their voice until they save. Ooh, so that means at the end of every round, they have to make another save. Right? This is a 4th edition mechanic. I don't think there's a lot of this in 5th edition, but I like it. It makes sense. By the way, you know, that idea of this persists until you save generally means it's going to last 2 rounds. Right? If it affects them at all, it's going to last 1 or 2 rounds. Very unlikely they're going to fail 3 or 4 saves in a row. Right? So this is cool, and I just added right before we started the stream. I just added the idea that he collects voices. That like this monk, I don't know if it's a he. I think it's a he because we already said it was a he. This monk now can speak with their voice. I think that's neat. And his villain action, which he's already done, pack leader, all allies within 60 feet get a free movement or free attack. So we've already had our villain. Why are you being weird? Why are you the way you are? Okay, so obviously I need to. There we go. I guess we kind of need to, well, maybe we need to get rid of the black bar. Yeah. Nope, you guys can't see the Eldritch Knight. So I guess we need to shrink this down a little bit. Which is going to make it so much easier for you folks to read. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, he all his allies, he's already done this, so when the battle begins, I'm going to be able to put these guys literally wherever I want them. You know, you guys put yourselves here in the room where you want to be, and then I'm going to go boop, 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 and I'm going to position these guys wherever they want. And he is the Master Jackal. So that's one character down. Brave Cobalt, thank you for the sub. The Flappy Jacks, this is State Azure, who is one of my favorite modular synth people. So here's the Priest. Well, what does the Priest do on their turn? He's not going to get 5 attacks, but he might get 3. And he's got a mace, probably a spiked Morning Star, right? No reason why he wouldn't be, you know, also plus 9 to hit. Maybe more, maybe more. He has fewer attacks than the monk, so he's probably going to need a little bit better bonus. How much damage does this mace do? I don't know. Does it have to do the damage that a mace does? No. No. It can do whatever damage I want. What I'm more interested in, so he's going to do 3 attacks per round. Wham, wham, wham. This is classic multi-attack, monster multi-attack thing. And something we could do if I wanted to, and I did this, you know, I did this a lot with Strongholds and Followers, is I could just go and see, like, you know, find a monster that is of appropriate challenge rating or appropriate level, and figure out how much damage they do. That's easy to do. So let's see. Morning Star 3 attacks, plus 10 to hit. Actually, let me write that down. And, you know, 2d8 plus 4 is a lot. So let's say 2d6 plus 3. Wham, 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 and then something cool, right? So it's not just attack, attack, attack. It's attack, 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 and it's like a Mace of Disruption or something. I don't know what that might be. Let's see. Yeah, maybe he just does, if this is his action. It could be that a lot of the followers and a lot of the retainers and Strongholds and Followers, their action that they do every round is a spell, right? So this guy might have more than one action. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know how often this guy would use his melee attack, although, you know, a cleric classically is a fighting spellcaster. He definitely needs some kind of, he could just be a debuff kind of dude, and he could, he could cast, you know, Bane or something. I don't even know what that, yeah, I'm just gonna type this in. It's gonna confuse a lot of you because I'm using a term from 5th edition, but I'm not, that's just a note to me, not about a spell. This is just the thing he does. So basically the opposite of guidance. And that is kind of quasi how Bane works, but this one, his is, it works on multiple targets. So he goes you, and you. Bonus action, he's going to heal his buddies. He's going to heal... he could have a couple of different options, right? He could either heal everybody a little or a few people a lot. Oh, does Bane work on multiple targets? I thought Bane was you pick somebody. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I was don't yeah, it's probably just that I knew that and I'd forgotten it. So it was in the back of my head somewhere. So he's going to heal everyone, all allies. I don't think 5th edition distinguishes between allies and enemies. That bugs me. But certainly I, as a wargamer and a designer, I think in terms of this guy's going to heal everybody or he's going to screw his bad guys. Heal all allies. I think, like, the problem with heal here is that the Chain of Acheron, they do so much fucking damage. It's unbelievable. They took out a CR-15 purple worm, and I did nothing to depower that purple worm. I did everything I could to keep that thing alive. I didn't give it any more hit points than it's supposed to have, but they just fucking destroyed. So the Chain of Acheron, it's not a question of... They don't live and die by D8s. They live and die by 30, 40 points of damage. So I'm going to say his bonus action is heal an ally for 48 hit points. So every round, this dude can go boom, and one guy goes from almost dead to half health, basically. But only one dude, right? So that's the kind of thing where it's not going to... I don't think it's really going to change the tide of battle. But it's going to... The player's going to be like, oh, this guy was almost dead. Well, keep in mind, 48 hit points is like one slim. You know, there are a lot of characters in this that can... You know, Lars did 48 damage with his fucking fireball. This guy fails to save against a fireball, whoever that person was, and they drop down another 48 points. All right? So... And he's got some cool reaction he can do, which is he's a priest, he's an evil priest, he's a priest of Ajax. What type of thing is he going to be reacting to? This guy is anti-spellcaster. I don't know. This is a good question. Restriction of mobility, that's a good idea. Notice, by the way, that I'm not going to the player's handbook and looking up spells and figuring out how many spell slots does this guy have. No, he's got stuff he can do every round. He's got a bonus action, right? He's got a reaction. So one of the things we can do is we can just go through here and we can make notes, right? And I can just jot down. This is a very useful tool when you're designing. Is right now I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it should fall into some category. It should fall into some category or have some general effect, right? Like the idea of it roots somebody, like it thwarts mobility. So this guy is kind of thwart spellcasting, sort of, right? Yeah, mostly, because most spells have a verbal component, so he's definitely thwart spellcasting. So what would be a list of things? Before I start assigning them to people, what would be a list of things? Well, I don't have enough room here to write, but definitely like mobility, anti-mobility would be one of them. These are reactions, right? So what are the types of things you can react to? You can react to somebody casting a spell. That's this guy. You can react to somebody moving. You can react to somebody attacking. I'm just making a note. I don't necessarily think, right? Yeah, you could react to somebody healing. I like that this isn't counterspell, right? The spell still happens, but then you lose your voice. Somebody should probably have a counterspell, though. That'd be... No, I don't know. You can react to somebody doing healing. You can react to somebody attacking. What are the types of things the chain does? Right? What are the types of things that that the chain does? You folks have watched, right? React to placing a seal. If any of these were good guys, if there was like an anti-Illrigger, that would make sense. No, keep in mind, the idea, thank you for the bits, Calcin. The idea of reacting to Judge using a seal is a really good idea. It's a really good idea. But I can't really justify it, considering these guys are basically all evil, and if anybody, they would be pro-Asmodeus. Something like, well, no, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work on. Again, this is just me trying to express my ideas and the way I think, and make it easier for folks watching to go, oh, is that? I didn't know you could just do that. So there's, what do we know about these guys? Well, they're evil, but also they are pro-human. They're anti everything that's not human, right? So they would be anti-Slim, anti-Copper, anti-Judge, anti-Leech. And, oh, yeah, definitely, this is my opportunity. Stand by. Somebody is messaging me. One of these guys is going to summon Korsoth Vastigan, because that is something I wanted to happen in a previous battle, and that I don't remember what that battle was. I remember going really well. I think it was in the Underdark when they were fighting the Aboleth guys, and I just forgot, and I was so angry because somebody sent us a painted Korsoth Vastigan mini. So definitely I got to make a note of that. That's not a reaction, I don't think. That's probably a bonus action, and it's probably a bonus action of the priest. I don't know why I made a noise like that, because who can, you know, maybe the Eldritch Knight could, but that's a villain action. Oh, we already got this guy's villain action. That's cool. So yeah, let's make this guy's. I can't wait till round 6. Although there's no reason these guys should be in this order. I do like the Curse of Iron though. That's really cool. I don't want to take that away from him. So one of the things I could do is I could just move the Eldritch Knight up, right? I can just go, you, come here. And then you don't have anything in here. And then you go back to where this person was. So now you're on round 3, and this would be pretty epic, right? On round 3, this dude, actually put Hail Ajax. You know, the only problem I have right now is not that. The problem I have right now is not that these guys are going to be just unbelievably powerful, because the Chain of Acheron are unbelievably powerful. The problem I have right now is that the Chain of Acheron don't really have. Sound Sorcerer Nilpois, hide thee hence to. Strongholds and Followers. Yeah, well, I agree. Well, GM Scott 4700, they have very little mitigation. Well, what do you mean? There's the chain in a scenario like this where my expectation is that they're literally going to be fighting for their life. My expectation is that they're going to have to really dig down and use all these crazy items that they've accumulated over the last however many levels and haven't needed yet. But I just don't think they have that many cool items. You know, like I had a friend of mine who designed a whole party of frost giants to challenge my friends, and it was exactly the kind of battle I wanted. The players had to they were going to die, and they knew it. They're like, we're all going to die unless we come up with something. And like my friend Craig had to pull out a stone, his stone of controlling earth elementals, which lets him summon an earth elemental, but they were standing on rock, they were standing on ice, and so he had to run to where there was stone so he could use this thing that he was so angry that he's like, what am I supposed to do with this stupid, when he got that as magic, as his treasure, he was like, this is dumb, I'm a thief, what am I going to do with the stupid stone of summoning earth elementals? And then when it came time, he was like, we need this thing. So I have no problem with the fact that these guys are going to really, really challenge the heroes, but they need to, the heroes, my only concern is that the heroes may just not have enough cool stuff in their locker to bust out. So need to make some more progress. We might not finish this today. Pretty typical. Let me see. Sorry. But I am at work, and so I occasionally have to respond to my coworkers when they're asking me time-critical stuff. Anti-mobility, healing. It would be cool if there was, if they could use Judge's seals against Judge, but again, I can't justify that. So this guy, he's going to hit you a couple times, or he's going to Bane, which apparently is exactly how that works. He can heal somebody for 48. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. This is keep in mind. I think you know what I mean when I said this. I think I already described this, but this is basically keep a dude in battle one more round. That's it. And that's what I was thinking. That's how I got to 48. My thought process was, what's the actual goal of bad guys healing each other? What I want is, I just want them to keep somebody in the game one more round. That's it. And this will do it. Because the amount of damage these guys can do, maybe 48 hit points will mean somebody lasts 2 rounds longer than they would otherwise. So this is... I'm just trying to think of like cool stuff from 4th edition. Somebody tries to heal somebody, that makes sense. Somebody casts a spell, we got that. Somebody attacks somebody, we got that. We really only need 2 more. But let's worry about this, the chains of iron, right? Obviously. Roots somebody to the spot. Oh, I know what somebody could do. Oh, not a reaction, that'd be terrible. I was gonna have him somebody. My favorite spell is Banish, because I just love the idea of you sit the rest of this battle out. But also I tend to enjoy Banish because it's like, we're gonna go outside and I'm gonna tell you what plane you've ended up in, and you'll be like, oh wow, this is Elysium. I've never, that kind of thing. Sharpen diplomacy. That's not a bad idea. And actually, we could, somebody said something about saving throws. We could have somebody who's like, disadvantage on saves. Stand by. Yeah. Somebody imposing disadvantage on saves is a good idea. So here, is this guy done? He can smack you a couple times, which is always good. Got a pretty decent bonus to hit. likely he'll hit once or twice, or he can go you and you. You're eating a D4. This what's that? It's minus 10%, by the way, because odds are you're going to roll, 2.5 on a 4. But could be more flower spikes. Thank you, Ritz up. I think this ranger is like an art. I don't think he's a anti-big cat ranger. Chains of Iron root somebody to the spot. There's a million spells that already do that, obviously. Maximilian's Earthen Grasp and stuff like that. Ooh. Somebody could slow an enemy. Counter haste. 5 attacks for the monk. How many attacks does Slim get? So, I like the idea that the rogue, as a bonus action, can slow somebody. Anyway, so heal an ally, chains of iron, root somebody to the spot. I just feel like this happens all the time, and the players have started to figure this out. Slim has realized that knocking somebody prone, not that big a deal, because they just stand back up again. And any movement-based ability is only as good as how quickly you use it, because there's no point in rooting Slim to the spot if he's already standing next to you. If the dude's already standing next to you, then it doesn't matter if he can move or not. That being said, like Maximilian's Earth and Grasp, the chains of iron root somebody to the spot and damage them. Yeah, that sounds good. Right. And damage them. I think Maximilian's Earth and Grasp does that. But I also think Chains of Iron could make it so that they can't cast spells. Disadvantage on spells. Yeah, that sounds good. The iron is interfering with spell casting. Yeah. Although there's no real precedent in my campaign for iron being counter magic. In fact, if anything, I sort of have introduced the idea that jade is counter magic. That doesn't bother me. That sounds cool to me. Chain somebody to the spot and take damage is probably going to be what it is. And then I'm going to make a little thing here. Now, look. What are the rules of this? Let me ask you a question. Do I need to do any more work on this ability in order to use it against the Chain of Acheron? Not really. If I were going to publish this, I would. But no, do I need a DC? Do I need a save DC, Harlequin Red Sky? I might just add one right now, why not? But do I actually need to do it? But do I need to, like, can't I just say, okay, what I don't have is the trigger. What's he reacting to? Chains of Iron. I have to figure that out, but I want to finish this thought. Yeah, what's the trigger? But yeah, I can just say, okay, let's imagine I knew what that trigger was. Okay, Lars, you triggered the trigger. Go ahead and make a whiz save. Or it's a root someone to the spot. No, it's a priest thing, so you have to resist the spell. It's not a dex thing. Go ahead and make a whiz save. Lars is probably going to make it. That'd be a bad example, but I might do it anyway. And then do I need to know what the DC is? If he rolls a 1, did he save? Probably. What about a 2? No. What about if we rolled a 3? No, probably not. What if we rolled a 4? Probably not. What if he rolled a 20? Oh yeah, I probably did. What if he rolled a 19? Oh yeah, I probably did. So there's actually only this really narrow range where you have to know what is the DC, because otherwise, he made it, he failed. So that I'm not really worried. How much damage? I'll probably make it up on the spot, right? But what is the thing that causes him to react to you? Is it just moving it? Is it moving at all? Probably, yeah. It's going to have to be, right? Because the goal is to stop you from doing it. An enemy moves. Chains of Iron. Trigger. I use this language a lot. If we were going to publish our own self-contained RPG, even if it were based on the 5th edition rules, I would probably have a lot of language that says enemies, allies, enemies, allies. Because I just think that's clearer and easier, and, you know, it's just easier to parse. All right, Eldritch Knight. Hey, how's it going, Eldritch Knight? I don't know a lot about Eldritch Knights, actually. Well, see, here's the thing. That's a good question, person whose name I don't know how to pronounce. Moving too close to him, maybe? But see, he doesn't want you to move at all. I thought about the idea, and we could have somebody else who, like, if you get adjacent to somebody whose reaction could be, did you get adjacent to one of my friends? Then this thing happens to you, right? Or another one that's if you move away. But if the goal is to root you to the spot, then it should be, if you move at all, it's like, so let's see. Eldritch Knight can use weapons, but he's mostly fighting spellcaster, right? So how do I make somebody fighting spellcaster? How do I make it so that when this guy acts, you're like, oh, this dude's a fighting spellcaster? So probably he's gonna have some combination of both of these. He's gonna attack you and zap you, right? Fire Shield is good. I like Fire Shield. I like Fire Shield just because it's awesome. Ramgleon! Sorry. So, yeah, I think that his reaction is probably... What did I just say? Well, yeah. Hey, JPlate88. Yeah, Fire Shield. Is that flavorful? It's a spell. It's a real spell. It's certainly a real spell. But I'd have to go look up how it works. What I could do is... same thing, but... sparks, iron sparks don't really do damage that way. I could just make it Fire Shield. I don't actually know how Fire Shield works in 5th edition. I don't much care because I don't even know necessarily that this is that same spell. Again, those words, Fire Shield, they're just a note to me. They're a note to me. Hey, Matt. You know, Matt, remember how Fire Shield worked? Yeah. You do so. I think it was like half damage in one edition and full damage in another edition. But basically, you hit me, you hit me in melee specifically. That's cool. That's cool. The thing I'm trying to avoid, like, you folks have great ideas. There's a whole bunch of really cool ideas going by. Oh, what if he could steal your weapon? What if this character could steal spells? What I'm trying to avoid is these really noodly things where I have to work out, okay, how exactly would that work on a moment-to-moment basis, right? And so it's not that the idea is, I've got 6 guys to run. That's the reason we're going through this exercise, is because I just want them to be easy to run. I just want them to be easy to run, but do dope shit. How do I get that? That was my thinking. I'm like, how do I get there? Well, you know, I just got to make sure that I can be like, okay, well, did you do this thing? Then this thing happens. Simple, straightforward. So, Eldritch Knight is probably gonna be longsword wielding dude. He's got shield, so his Armor class could even be higher than this, probably. He's got, you know, somebody just said he has metal skin. That would be cool, actually. It would be cool if this guy had actually had, like, metal skin. He's not a Warforged. Yeah. Fire shield. And I'm wondering what that would do. It would probably give him damage reduction. Yeah, unless you have an adamantium weapon. Yeah, not being able to be critted would be pretty cool. I do like the idea that the ranger summons shadows. If he hits you. Because they use shadows, right? We know that about them. Well, that's whatever you want. I'm not going to worry about that, but when it comes up, it will be really cool. I just like the idea that the ranger hits you, he summons a shadow next to you. You're like, fuck. Ugh. And it might be a minion. Right? Because if you can do this every round. Just a minion, right? But, holy crap. No iron golems in here, although that's a perfectly reasonable thing, but because I think there's an iron golem coming up in Ringwell. What font do I use? I don't remember what font it is. Let me see. Some people have asked that before. Perfectly reasonable thing to interrupt the stream to do. Right? Gaudi Medieval. Don't know what that is or where I got it. Fourth edition introduced the idea, which I'm not sure. Correct, Sakura. Yes. Fourth edition introduced the idea of bad guys just being able to do cool stuff, and it took a while for my players, my old school players, to be like, well, now that we've killed them, where is the loot that they were using to do this? And it's like they weren't using any loot to do it. It was just a knack they had. It was just a thing they could do. How do you, like, you have all these cool abilities you can use in 4th edition, and you're not using magic items to do them. So I have no real problem with the idea that this ranger just knows how to summon shadows with his arrows. And that's not something the players can do. Just killing him doesn't mean you can loot that ability. Yeah, he's just this is what happens if you serve St. Ajax. Well, Feltic, I'm incredibly excited for you to get it. So far, we haven't seen anybody get the... but if they eat the ranger, Lord Durok, yeah, then they should definitely get that intrinsic. 100%. I'm going to eat this whole ranger. Well, so Final Fantasy III Lock Z, I definitely agree that, oh yay, Warehouse Board, awesome. That makes me happy. I definitely agree. I think, did you tweet about it? Did I see that? I think that you definitely need loot. The players are definitely going to get treasure from this, right? I just don't know what that treasure is. And I may go through the process of, you know, going and getting the treasure, figuring out what treasure they would have, and then going back to this and revising it and making sure they use that treasure, right? So yeah, this guy, we're making pretty good progress. This guy gets 3 attacks. We know about that. I'm still kind of stuck. So he's got a longsword, and I think every time he uses his longsword, I like the idea. Well, yeah, I like the idea that his longsword is powered up with some kind of spell, like vampiric, like battle stance. I like the idea of a battle stance. Yeah, better DM would probably pre-roll the initiative for the Black Iron Pact. Yeah, that's true. And this is one of those guys where this is going to be a very complex initiative, because it's not going to be, okay, all the bad guys go. It's going to be good guys, bad guys, and elite. Did they lose the javelin? Pesto Enthusiast just had a good idea. Yeah, they took that javelin one with them, right? So somebody's got that fucking javelin. That would be fucking funny. That would be funny as shit. Yeah, hey, here's a javelin back. Thunk. But I don't think this should be a villain action, because that shouldn't be something you have to wait for round 5 to come up. I'm just gonna put that in a note down here. So I like the idea that every time this Eldritch Knight hits you, let's see. So far we have a melee dude, we have a melee dude. The Eldritch Knight's gonna be a melee dude. We have a lot of melee guys here. Although Bane has range, the Heal has range, Chains of Iron has range, the Curse of Iron has range. This is awesome. I can't wait to use this fucking thing. Round 2. Half y'all motherfuckers go blind. The Eldritch Knight could be a polearm guy. Because we have a Battle Master, right? So it's got 10-foot reach. Ah. Right. Let's see. So it's gonna be. I feel like, yeah, we've set this crazy precedent here. But their bonuses, the bonuses to hit are probably going to be all around the same because they need to be able to hit. So I'm going to give this guy. Is there any reason that Eldritch Knight is kind of a two stat thing? I'll give him +8 to hit. The only reason I'm giving him +8 to hit is because I feel bad because I gave the first two guys +9 and +10. But that's not necessarily a bad reason to do it, right? It's like, oh, they can't all be crazy bonuses to hit. So this guy plus hit, he's going to get, I think, 3 attacks. 3 attacks. It's going to do, let's say, 3d6. 3d6 plus 3 per attack. And it's going to thunder wave people back. So I'm not 100% sure that that's going to make a big deal, right? Okay, you knocked me back. Now I'm just going to move back into. Now I'm just going to move back into range. But he could have a reaction. That is, if you move within reach, he goes, no, get the fuck back. Right. So we could have more than one reaction. Nah, Slim. That's cool. Sorry, I think I may have just blown out the microphone a little bit. That's cool. You get close. So, because, yeah, you get close to him. No, stay back. Anybody who gets close to him. So, what's his bonus action? Probably going to be a spell. Probably going to be... this is our last real spellcaster. What's a dope... If there's a dope Eldritch Knight thing, but I'm thinking it's going to be Impose Disadvantage. It's going to be spell... Misty Step should be his movement thing. Yeah, he doesn't have a... movement would be good. Have to get rid of the fire shield. What? Why? No, a fire shield is a spell. It's not a physical object. So, yeah, definitely something that movement-wise, they're already kind of in movement. Misty Step's not bad. Nice to be able to just write down Misty Step and know what that does. So I'm trying to think, does this guy need anything else? See, you think of, you know, an Eldritch Knight PC. Oh, I have all these cool abilities. But what's this guy's lifespan? It's 2 or 3 rounds. So he's going to do a bunch of damage to you. He's going to knock you back. Is he going to spend an action casting a spell? Maybe, but that would have to be a badass spell, right? It would have to be something that did that beat this. He could just teleport, actually. You're right. He could just teleport. Fuck it, I'm just going to teleport. I'm not going to Misty Step. I'm he is kind of the closest thing they have to a wizard, right? So something like Fireball would not necessarily be a bad idea. But the problem is, I don't think in this scenario... Hello, Araguma. Araguma. Welcome aboard. I don't think Fireball would be useful because they're all going to be intertwined with each other. It's not going to be us and them on different sides of the thing. Are these for level 6? Well, don't forget the chain's 7th level. Don't forget the chain just fucking murdered a... Yeah. You know, chain lightning is not a bad idea. I could just give that to him. Let's make it so I can read this. Melts minute meteors. It's not a bad idea. Witch Bolt! Night Rider! Harry Buddha, thank you for the sub. Is the Eldritch Knight a woman? I don't actually know what the genders of these different characters are. Actually, teleport is a bonus action. Doing that every round? Bonus action, teleport. I do like bonus actions, Shadow Step. Although that's not starting to get a little noodly. I have to summon the shadows and remember that he can only move to shadows. It'd be easier if he could just teleport around. But teleport's not a bonus action, it's a spell, isn't it? It's a regular action. Misty Step is a bonus action, I think. Is there a limit to how often you can, I guess? Yeah, Misty Step's probably better. It's only 15 feet, but this is going to be really, you know. Let's go back to Misty Step. 15 feet is going to be enough in this encounter, I think. Oh, is Misty Step 30 feet? For some reason I thought it was 15. Okay, well I think this guy's done. Right? On round 3, so on round 1, this guy gets everybody into position and then they fight for a round. On round 2, this guy casts Curse of Iron, and Judge and Slim and Leech and Copper all have to save or go blind. That makes me happy. On round 3, this dude summons Korsoth Vastigan. So we're doing pretty well so far. That's our Eldritch Knight. Our Battle Master is our other fighter. And he's are there ranged attacks melee? No, let's keep this guy. Let's keep this guy melee. So this dude is our kind of slim opposite number, right? Oh yeah, you guys can't see what's going on here. Sorry. There we go. I think I can lock this so that I can't scroll around. Well, Artemis McLean probably, yeah. Needs more water. What happens if one of these people dies before the round? Well, probably then they'll not get to do their stuff because they'll be dead. I'm just thinking in terms of like Slim, the superiority dice and what you can do with superiority dice and using distracting attack and stuff like that. So I definitely think that distracting attack where you grant your buddies advantage is going to be really cool. Hey, Nico 171. But what does disarm do? You drop your weapon. Okay, it's your turn. All right, I pick my weapon up. Oh, yeah. Cool. You're welcome, Ash. Well, but then, yeah, take the weapon. You know. Now we're getting into the thicket here. Distracting attack. I sort of feel like this guy is the most. This guy should be the face me, right? So he's gonna get into position and force somebody to attack him. So his ability is Mark, essentially, coming from 4th edition. So he'll probably get 3 attacks because that's pretty standard. And yeah, greatsword. 3 attacks. He's going to be +8 to hit. I reserve the right to change that. +8 to hit, 2d8 damage, +5, he's strong, 2d8, +5, he's really strong, and the target and we could have his reaction be if you move away from me, right? So the rogue can be healing, and the reaction is right. Well, Zebulonic, you may not know 5th edition that well, but there are ways in 5th edition to move that do not provoke opportunity attacks. And this ability works even if you're using those. So. So like if you use the disengage action, won't matter. He's still going to smack you. Trade 041493. Thank you for the sub. Yeah, if they teleport away, that's fine. Yeah, his bugs cannot be NFP'd. So we know a little bit about this Battle Master, right? He's going to smack you around, and if you try to attack, after he does that, if you try to attack somebody else. So this guy is probably not an anti-slim dude. Knowledge over swag. Thank you for the subs. 125 gifted subs. Doesn't it create feel bad moments at the table to make something that counters its natural counter? I actually don't know how to counter. What if I counter the counter of the natural counter? What if we have a counter for the counter of the counter of the natural counter? I don't know how. I don't know what that means. So, what is it that makes somebody feel like really warlordy? I was talking about the attack that works even if they disengage. Yeah, that sounds cool. I like it. Like, bad guys should always have abilities that surprise the heroes. Like, if the bad guys never do anything that surprises the heroes, then it's going to be really boring. So the idea of something that, like, here's this rule in 5th edition, and there's this one dude who, under this one circumstance, can counter it, makes perfect sense. The players are going to be like, what? He can't do that? Yeah, he can. And then it's like, okay, well, now we know. Let's, I sort of feel like Battlemaster's bonus action is going to be let somebody. It's going to be the. I like that Kajik Falcon. I was going to say, like, the chain commander is. Yeah, just shake it off. This is pretty straightforward, right? Hey, shake it off. Once per round? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. These guys are going to be crazy. These guys are going to smoke the chain. Well, Volinar's Workshop, I also hope I get a kick out of it. Thank you for whatever it is you said. This party is really OP. I mean, I feel like, yeah. What did you think I was going to do? Do you think I was going to do something like... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to really challenge these guys. And I have in my power to... How are you going to telegraph the power of this party to the chain? I already did that. I already told them that there's going to be an enemy team that may already... I said the... Derek Garvile Silence said their guys are doing the same thing we're doing right now, and they're having a meeting. So, yeah. I think we're probably going to stop just because it's pretty clear to me that the chat's expectations and mine are just wildly different. There's an overwhelming amount of feedback that is, this is OP, this is too much, and that's not really what I'm here to do. So, we've already been streaming for an hour and a half, and we've gotten 4/6 of the way through this, and I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. I'm probably going to go back to the monster manual and just, it's tricky. I don't know if that's a good idea. I might go to MCDM Stats, the Twitter feed, and just look and see, like, how much damage is the chain doing? How many hit points do they have? Because the goal isn't to kill the heroes. The goal is just to really push them in a way they have never been pushed before. Like, have any of the members of the chain ever actually, I think like Leech, have actually gone unconscious in the context of battle, where they're like actually, Slim went down, he got revived. So the number of times this should be the first time that the players are really like, we could die. If we, like, maybe we should retreat. Maybe one of us should get out of here, right? Maybe one of us should retreat so that at least somebody lives and can go muster our allies and come back. So I'm not super worried about, is this OP? Is this OP? Is this OP? Oh my God, this is so awful. This is so bad. Look at all this stuff. Because I can always, like, if I start, there's a lot of damage, obviously. But if the heroes, if it's going too far in one direction, I'll just have them do less damage. The players don't know how many damage dice I'm rolling behind the screen. The players don't know that I rolled fewer dice this way. So that's my goal. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 days. I can always go back and kind of do some math and figure out how much damage are we actually talking about. Like, +10 to hit. What are the odds that they're going to hit in a given round? Probably like 50%, right? Well, maybe less, maybe more, 55, 60%. So how many actual dice of damage these guys are going to do? 2d6 plus 3. What is 2d6 plus 3? It's 3, 6, 9, 10 points of damage. This guy's doing 10 points of damage every time he hits. Is that a big deal? This guy's doing 3, 6, 9, 12. This guy's doing 12 points of damage every time he hits. Is that a lot? He only gets 3 attacks. He's probably going to miss 1 or 2 of them. So, Chain Lightning's a big deal. this guy's going to do a lot of damage, but that's kind of the goal. So I think it's a good place to stop because I think the quality of the design is somewhat suffering from my attempts to try to keep up with chat. That happens a lot when we do this stuff, is that the direction this would have gone if I had just been in my own head on my own ends up being different. But also it just gets, you know, having to kind of constantly, like, this isn't, I'm not doing what you would do. If you were doing this, you would have a completely different method, right? And you'd end up with wildly different bonuses and stuff like that. And so that's where a lot of the feedback comes from, is it's so different from what a normal person would have done. So you do have some idea though about like what happens on round 4. Let's finish this guy. Where are you going? If you move away from me, ally succeeds. I like this. So this is kind of classic. In fact, let's just call him a warlord. It's kind of classic 4E warlord. And each of these attacks. So each attack. I'm just going to remember that. The target has disadvantage on attacks. So this might be an anti-copper character, right? Get up against copper and be like, where are you going? Hey, little man. Hey, little man, what are you doing? Right? And because copper doesn't want to be right next to the big battle master man. And copper doesn't have teleport. He might have Misty Step. He might be able to Misty Step off of his... That'd be cool. Force him to cast a spell to, or, you know, shake it off. Hey, you. I don't know how many spells do the players have that are ongoing. I'd really like a way to counter the inevitable Spirit Guardians. I have to do some research for that. So what does this guy do? Like, all allies get a free attack. That's the warlord. Hey, all y'all. Or they could all get free healing. Everybody getting a free attack is pretty cool. We do have this guy healing one person for a lot. Yeah, but Pact Leader's already happened. Like, that ability has already come and gone. It's already been used, and they used it to move. So, all allies get a free attack. No, it's got to be something where, like, holy shit, round 4, it's a big deal. It can't be too much, because if all of them could take their action, hey, Mr. Monk, do 5 attacks. That would be crazy. I'd like to be able to banish Spirit Guardians, but I don't think I can come up with a good reason to do it. So, this is probably going to be enough. Let's see. They're the servants of the Iron Saint, Saint Ajax. It's pro-human. That'll have to do. All right, folks. So I am going to be done, and I'm going to finish this offline, and you folks are all going to get to see how this design plays out. Like, I'm not going to. I may modify some of this stuff, but I'm not going to start from scratch. These are the guys. These are the folks. I'm going to have to do some time. I'm going to have to spend some time describing these folks. Right? They're all human, but they're not all male. And they've got to have cool, interesting descriptions. Yeah, Dispel Magic's not a bad idea. Although again, the goal is not to be like they all have lots of different things they can do. Just this structure means they have different things they can do. So I don't know when the next time we'll stream is. Maybe later tonight for some NetHack. Maybe this weekend. Maybe Monday night. Otherwise, I will see you folks next time the chain fights these guys. Yeah, absolutely. We'll put the finished version in the Patreon notes. Thanks for all the great feedback. Thanks for the cool ideas. Some of them made it into the sheet. And again, I've already got four enemies done, and I know what they do. Right? I designed them, so I know what they do. I just may have to remind myself. But I didn't have to use any of the nonsense from. I didn't design This isn't a 9th level Battle Master, and I made a 1st level Battle Master and then leveled them up 9 times. And they have way cooler abilities than if I just went and used the NPC stat blocks from the Monster Manual, right? Which are useful, don't get me wrong. I've used them before. But yeah, they're not, they tend to have like lots of spells. It's like, I don't got time to go through all that stuff. So we got 2 more dudes to do, and they already have some of their cool abilities. I'm not going to forget the Javelin of Lightning. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope this was useful in some way, but also keep in mind that you don't know if this is a good idea or not. Doesn't matter how cool it seems. We got to wait till Wednesday night to find out, did this work? And the test of whether or not this design works is not, were they OP or were they underpowered? That's just numbers. That's just numbers. The trick is, was I able to run 6 guys and not get overwhelmed, and I knew on each turn what they were going to do? I knew on each turn what they were going to do. It was fun, and I wasn't overwhelmed, and they each had unique things they could do at specific moments. If that works, then this design works. And I could continue it, and these are basically like super buff retainers where they don't have crazy, stupid abilities. And here's, this guy's a 9th level spellcaster, so here are all the 1st level spells he has memorized. What am I going to do with 1st level? 1st level spell's not going to help me. This is the Chain of Acheron, not the Chain of, you know, Hoboken. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Be seeing you.